Hello, everyone. I am Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. And today we got some cool Book of Boba Fett stuff hitting, making sure I got my sound levels all up. They put out a little poster thing. I enjoy these little posters, but I also kind of think they're not real posters, so we can't get them. Can't see them anywhere, but they're good internet promotion. So Boba Fett on the old throne. Could be his toilet in Jabba the Hutt's palace. Probably not, though. And the big thing for me, believe it or not, is actually what we all knew, what we were basically assuming and talking about for the last, I don't know, since when did that come out now? Like over a year ago when we saw that little tease, of Boba on the throne at the end of Mando season 2. And it was very clear from that alone that Boba was going on the warpath. He was getting revenge. And they released a little snippet of kind of confirming the stuff. Oh, yeah. And by the way, this is the poster. Super dark. Kind of, it's nothing new exactly. And it's exactly what we saw at the end of the last season of the Mando. But what you see is Palpa memes on Twitter. He lined it up. He was like, I don't know why it's so dark. And you could actually see it now. Looks a lot better. So good work, Mr. Palpa memes, who's usually on the Tatooine show, I believe. So yeah, check that out. But it's rad though. I'm not trying to downplay it or take away any enthusiasm from it. Just simply kind of throwing it out there that, they are doing a good job of not really showing us anything new while showing us something new. the genius of the Disney marketing machine, I guess. And so the press release that went out today says Disney Plus announced today that the Book of Boba Fett, the new Lucasfilm series, teased in a surprise end credit sequence following the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, will premiere on Wednesday, December 29th. So after you're all beat up from Christmas and too exhausted to enjoy life, just before New Year's and you're hungover, you get to watch the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett exclusively on the streaming service. Disney Plus, and wouldn't it be cool if that was actually in the press release? Disney Plus also debuted the key art for the series, which you can see for yourself below. The Book of Boba Fett, a thrilling Star Wars adventure, finds legendary bounty hunter Boba Fett and mercenary Fennec Shand navigating the galaxy's underworld when they return to the sands of Tatooine to stake their claim on the territory once ruled by Jabba the Hutt and his crime syndicate. So the Book of Boba Fett stars Tamara Morrison, Ming-Na Wen, and then it says Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Robert Rodriguez, Kathleen Kennedy, and Colin Wilson are the executive producers. And and it goes on to say that Karen Gilchrist and Carrie Beck serve as co-executive producers, with John Bartnicki producing and John Hampion as co-producer. Copyright 2021. I'm kidding. So there you go. It sounds like, if we take this ultra literally, we are going to see probably overlap with The Mandalorian season 2. We're going to see the stuff that gets, it sounds like part of it anyway, is going to have probably the first episode is going to essentially be what leads up to that moment that we see at the end of season 2, and maybe what even precedes it, possibly. Definitely in episode 2 and on, I would say. But there's been a lot of interesting rumors about the show out there too. Like Star Wars Meg has seen a Hutt tail prosthetic, which implies Jabba the Hutt or a new Hutt. We've gone back and forth on it, whether it could be a puppet or whether it's just like they made a big fake Jabba tail so what's supposed to be there. which I think is probably a pretty important, unless she's heard something else and I missed it, but a pretty important designation, to make about what you could be seeing. And in that War of the Bounty Hunters comic book series, which is sort of the prequel to this, we are getting a ton of Hutts in there. There's this one Hutt, and he's like ripped. He has like a 6-pack, and that one's pretty hilarious. Something, I mean, it would be crazy if they made it, but something tells me that's not the one that we're gonna see. But you never know. I mean, it's one of those designs that might look hilarious in live action in a good way. And now when you think about the Hutt stuff, we've now had Hutts in the Clone Wars, where we kind of saw like the whole crime family. Some of them looked like they're from straight out of The Godfather, and then we've now in Tatooine Rhapsody, we had the bass player Hutt. So they're definitely like changing up the physiques, and Hutts have hair. They can, anyways. I'm guessing they just wear wigs or something like fancy aristocrats, but yeah, so it's all out there. So, anyways, I think we're gonna have a pretty interesting little time after Christmas. I was hoping we were gonna get it earlier. I know I'm just being a complainer, but it would have been nice to have it earlier in December, because boy, does the Christmas season get busy and kind of suck sometimes, when you're trying to work and do all that stuff. But I am not sad. I mean, we're about October now, so we got like October, November, December. So 3 months, and then we get some Boba Fett on screen. And December 29th. That's right, Max. Yep. I gotta say, kind of waited my whole life for this. So complaining about December 29th is pretty petty of me. I think I could, I think I'll survive. I like that the tweet, I didn't include the tweet from StarWars.com in my file thingy because I had to redo it and I forgot to. But I think that, they say his story is only beginning. The Book of Boba Fett, an all-new original series, starts streaming December 29th on Disney+. So that comment, his story is only beginning, is I think going to be dissected by fans. Honestly, in my opinion, it's pretty empty, hollow PR speak for just get excited, okay? Get excited, like stuff's coming. And but it does make me think that this show will have multiple seasons, because they were pretty explicit with Obi-Wan Kenobi that it's a limited series, which means we don't intend, like Queen's Gambit, we don't intend this to be an ongoing series about a lady who plays chess. This is pretty much a long miniseries movie. That's it. Well, Book of Boba's not getting that designation, and as he shouldn't, as he shouldn't. And it's really kind of weird. I mean, like, we're living through it, so I don't think we're seeing it necessarily, but it's so strange that we got a different Mandalorian guy out before Boba Fett. Like, I never would have guessed that. I never would have. There were all these rumors around 2014 that, there's going to be a new Boba Fett, and he like takes the mantle, like he was the Dread Pirate Roberts from Princess Bride, and obviously that stuff didn't pan out. It might not even have been rooted in truth at all. Who knows? It could have been, since we got Mandalorian, the television series. So, it's possible, but it's super strange. And I am glad that we don't live in a world where Boba Fett has no love and no real attention, doesn't warrant his own series in live action, and a new guy with the worst name does. And I'm not trying to say like it's an either or, apples or kind of thing. I'm saying is that like Boba deserves this, and Boba Fett is an awesome, awesome character, but mostly an awesome character with potential because he's not in the Phantom Menace. We meet him in Attack of the Clones. He's a child, about to become a teenager, like right on the cusp. We see sort of, it's almost a socioeconomic kind of moment for him, you know? His dad is murdered and now he's an orphan. So he's kind of like given this basic skill set from his father, this role model, and then his father is killed by Mace Windu. Well, that means his guidance is pretty much gone at that point. After that, he's just on his own. And that's doesn't really tell us a lot, does it? Then we get to the Clone Wars and we see him with in prison, breaks out. He has a gang, you know, full of bounty hunters that we all know. Great ones like Dengar and Bosk, Ara Singh, and Cad Bane. Eventually, kind of, you know, goes up against them. And so yeah, we end up with this like kind of like murky story, and then we get to Empire Strikes Back and we just know, okay, he's doing it Django style now, and he tracks Han Solo, takes him back to Jabba's, which is more convoluted in the comic books, but you get the point. And then he gets rocketed into the Sarlacc pit. And what happens after that? We see him 5 years later. Acid burns on his face, which is, I guess, the real reason he'd have animosity towards the Skywalkers and Solos at that point. Acid on the face, no armor, gets the armor back, kills Bib Fortuna. Now he has Jabba's palace. So there's a lot there, but look at how spread out that is, and look at how much ambiguity is still there for the character about what he thinks, what he has to say, his point of view. Why is he doing it? Like that's one of the things about Boba Fett I've never necessarily enjoyed, is the really, really base like level. He wants likes on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be upvoted on Reddit. I'm the most powerful bounty hunter ever. It's like, what? You know what I mean? Get therapy, dude. So there has to be more to it. And he's such an opportunity for development and to become a better character. Over the years, you know, you had like people with their hot takes like, oh, he's a Boba Fett. Yeah, all the Boba Fetts, because it's all just dudes who like, you know, that kind of went away once Mandalorian came out and they saw Grogu and he was adorable. And they're like, oh, this has potential. But, you know, it was sort of, you ended up in this place where he was hard to defend at times because there wasn't much depth there, but also the potential for depth was always there. There was always the ability to make him a great character. And, you know, he's always sort of been the Star Wars trophy wife. You know what I mean? Really good looking, but not necessarily a lot there. Everybody wants some, but they don't really know why. And is it really good for us at the end of the day? It was kind of always the big question. You know, is it really going to give us what we need? And it worked. I think this is gonna be the moment where Boba Fett becomes more than just a good looking background character. Obviously, you know, it's its own series, and if it connects, if it works, it's going to be really solid. You know, so yeah, let's see what the chat is saying. Mr. Duck, how's it going, Mr. Ducky Momo? Living with Damron. I'm here. Now it's a penis party. Wait. Hey, we could play lightsabers. Nobody could stop us. Ron Trackwell Jr. says, fucking awesome. I agree. I'm with you. Ducky says, aristocrat the hut. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some pretty fancy ones out there. Dell says, how many chapters do you think we are going to have in Boba? So what I think is up with Book of Boba is um, love or hate Grace Randolph. That's your opinion, so I'll let you have it. Um, she reported something that a while ago, and it was that like Star Wars Mandalorian was taking this really weird turn, and it was like for the Din Djarin was out, and a new hero was going to be in, and all this stuff like that. And looking back at it now, it's pretty apparent to me that either she was sensationalizing her report or her sources were, and she didn't know, or they didn't know, that Book of Boba was actually Mando season 3 was actually Book of Boba, and that they were doing everything under the same production lines. And Ming-Na Wen, I believe, and Esposito believed that Mando season 3 was what became Book of Boba Fett. So, and that makes me. Oh yeah, and there's been a couple of like hints. I'm not saying this is what's happening, but a couple of hints that that Moff Gideon is in this. And so I'm kind of wondering if we end up in a really weird circular pattern where Boba does his job and gets Mando where he needed to get, helps the child, and then is immediately tasked with breaking out Gideon. That's a bit of speculation, but also slightly circumstantially informed. Okay, if that makes sense. I hate to play the ambiguity game, but it appeared that he was there when they were making the Book of Boba Fett. But admittedly, Book of Boba Fett is the most sneaky of them, coming in under the Mando 3s, guys, and the pandemic made it really, really hard to follow. And it made it really with smaller crews and all kinds of stuff, made it harder for people to talk. And because it's a little bit more obvious sometimes. Maybe it's more obvious anyways who could be on there. So there's a lot of reasons why we haven't got much about Book of Boba. And my buddy Christopher, who, and by the way, thank you, Christopher, for sending me the alert that this hit this morning. Always my buddy Christopher, I appreciate you, man. He's always there making sure I know what's going on in case I don't know. And we have different time zones, which helps so much because sometimes I have to sleep, it turns out. But he's really interested in the costume of this character. And there has been some hints and there's been some talk. I think Star Wars Newsnet said he had like a darker costume or a different costume. But War the Bounty Hunter shows him in a black costume. The crew shirt literally shows him in a variant of this costume here, and with darker colors too. So that's why that's kind of what I was getting at the top of the show. What they're showing us is just simply the end of the last season in this photo. This does not depict any of the changes that we're going to see to his armor, to his accessories and things like that as the series goes on. To what extent, I really can't say. We're going to see more stuff on him, and exactly how drastic it is, but it is. He does go through changes and variants and everything like that. And I mean, it's Robert Rodriguez is running it, obviously, but it's pretty much the same people who did The Mandalorian, and you can just look at The Mandalorian. It does it effortlessly. It's not. Well, is it effortless? That's a good question. It plays into the plot of The Mandalorian, to the story. He's recovering pieces of his legacy. But I think Boba is just going to have reasons for using different gadgets and different changes. I don't think he's necessarily like Din Djarin, who's in this Mando cult. Boba's not in the Mando cult. At least I don't think so. Hey, what's up, dude? I didn't think you would be awake. I should have. If you want to come on, let me know. I don't know how much longer I'll be on, but if you want to get on, get on. The first okay, what does this say right here? The first reports is shooting, I think it said 6 chapters. I was under the impression it was 8. Um, that it was 8, that it was essentially a full Mando season. And was once again not willing to die on a hill over this, okay? Just to be clear. But when Obi-Wan Kenobi was a film, it was obviously a 3-act film. Well, not obviously, but this one was a 3-act film, obviously, like most Star Wars movies are. That part is obvious. And they basically took each act and turned it into 2 episodes. And then that was revised again. I think it did still stay 6 episodes. I have a feeling Book of Boba ended up getting that 6 episode number from that, because 6 episodes is weird. It's not necessarily it's a very random number in terms of a season. And Mando had 8 episodes, which is also kind of weird. But so anyways, the fact that I know Obi-Wan is 6, and then this is saying 6, or people were thinking 6, I think wires got crossed. Just a guess though. And hey James, how's it going, man? How are you? What? I can't hear you, James. James, talk to me. James, what's wrong, dude? Why are you talking to me, man? Man, James. Super cool poster. Yeah, it is, man. I agree. I am with you on that one. Mr. Santa, how's it going, dude? Make sure you check out Star Wars Santa on YouTube. Love his show, and I love hanging out with them when I get a chance. It's always a fun time. We have to get Star Wars Santa on sometime really soon. I just need to figure out how I could schedule that. But yeah, early live stream today. Wednesdays, my kids have early days at school. Got to pick them up early. And so me and Rob and Jesse were like, how are we going to do today? I don't know yet. I hadn't figured it out, but I think this kind of forced my hand a little bit. So yeah. And then, so it's good to see everybody in the chat talking though. I do love that. Well, we're back to the penis party thing. This app does not care. It'll just put things into any old order. And I'm going to invite my buddy, Mr. Thrawn Talk, on right now. So that way, we could get his take. Because, okay, where did I put that link? One day I'll be able to do 2 things at once. I doubt it, but probably someday. Okay. And then, okay. See, I always try to DM him the link, but he always changes his name and on his little thing, and I'm like, who is this? Where is he? I can't find him. But now's the part where he jumps into the chat over here on the side, and I don't see him, and I sit here and talk, waiting for him for like 15 minutes. But yeah. So yeah, in terms of Book of Boba, what are you guys looking forward to? That's what I want to know. Like what are your expectations for the show? Because I think it's gonna deliver. I do. And Robert Rodriguez, I got a feeling he is the kind of dude that wouldn't promise something was gonna over deliver if it wasn't. Like, he knows. And the fact that he's saying that is super, it's a super good sign. But let me know what you guys think. Hey, Mr. Jesse.
Hola.
Can everybody hear Jesse okay? I turned your volume up, so hopefully we can hear you.
Yeah, I think so. Sounds good.
Yeah, so pretty rad to wake up to a little bit of boba news. Any news is better than no news, right?
Exactly. Just I love seeing the poster for it, and I'm really thinking too that you're right, that they're going to have a variant costume of his, for possibly, and then I think it'll be more like whatever suits the situation that he's doing. It'll probably be variant on his costume.
Yeah, let me see if I have that picture on my phone. have a lot of bullshit on my phone, unfortunately.
I think we all do.
Which, yeah, it makes it hard to this is probably one of those images that I should have just had, like, in my like favorites or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so when they were filming, okay, now, and once again, this is somewhat stylized, but I'm gonna try to drop this in right now and hopefully
Right.
not mess up the
Hi,
computer.
James. Thanks for saying hi. Hello, everybody in the chat.
Okay. All right, so right there, Buccaneers, Season 1, Legacy Effects crew. Obviously, this is stylized, but see that Wookiee on the left there?
Yeah.
I have seen him. I was on Star Wars Santa show, actually, after having seen that Wookiee. And so it's like, this is stylized. You don't want to take it too seriously, but you also don't want to dismiss it too much. But you can see that it, there
It's a
is a
Wookiee
little bit of differences.
Yeah, it's a Wookiee and a
Yeah,
Gamorrean.
but also look at Boba. I mean, you can see that it like has like the trench coat thing going on there, whatever. But also, is it? I mean, everything is kind of black, so it's kind of hard to say if that's going to be like a thing. But I think that is a different costume, and he's using two guns, which is also Jango Fett style.
Could this be one of the I don't know, like a concept art thing?
Possibly?
Well,
no, I doubt it. Yeah, I mean, I based off of the colors and stuff, I would bet that this was done in house for the crew. You know what I mean? Like, most likely.
But yeah, it does look very Sergio Leone.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been, they might have made a bunch of like themed kind of art, and explored that, and this is one of the ones that wasn't going to be used on anything. It wasn't going to be a poster from the Twitter or something like that, and they designated this as the crew shirt, But yeah, but I mean, like, like I said, you could glean a lot from that, but not necessarily.
Well, I think the only thing I can take away from it too, or one of the things, is it's still showing that Boba has no qualms about going out whoever he's hired to go after. That's him taking a shot at the Wookiee and the Gamorrean guard.
Yeah.
I think represents good and evil in a way to me. I think.
I mean, he wears the Wookiee scalps, man. He don't care. He'll kill Wookiee. He likes killing Wookiees.
And you see he's in the middle between the two of them, so he always plays both sides.
Yeah, it kind of occurred to me just now that Star Wars, like, if one person goes at somebody on screen, they're like, oh, they are mortal enemies. It's kind of like wrestling almost. And it's kind of, we do see Boba burn up, which we need to continue reading those comics that we kind of just stalled out on because of Visions. But we did see, like, he does light Chewbacca on fire. Like, he like literally lights Chewbacca on fire in the comics, and it's kind of funny. But anyways, I'm surprised there's not more about some like Wookiee vendetta kind of thing that they haven't like put into it. But maybe they don't want to make Boba into a genocidal maniac necessarily, because that is like the definition of actual racism in the worst way.
Being part of genocide,
yeah, or I don't know. Is it racism, or is it like speciesism or something? I don't know.
It's probably a word we haven't heard yet.
But they kind of like went down the path with the Trandoshans. Like, Trandoshans and Wookiees don't like each other, and or Trandos and Mandos. That should be a new TV show. It's like a House Hunters. Anyways, yeah, but it's like I'm surprised that they haven't done something with Wookiees and Mandalorians to like kind of like lay that out a little bit more. But
but I don't know. I have a feeling if they did it, they'd probably make it like one of those MTV challenge shows.
Max says, I'm going to keep listening to the live stream, getting ready for another podcast interview.
Sweet.
Rock that shit, Max. Rock that shit. It looks like his armor in the poster is banged up like it was in Mando season 2. Excuse me, before he painted it. When the scenes of Boba killing Bib and taking the throne, was his armor painted or banged up yet?
It was
Uh,
painted.
yeah, it's pretty. That's like where he is made it all fancy. And
Hmm.
I in terms of like tracking that kind of stuff, I'm trying not to get too into that kind of stuff because we may just see it like continually changing and going back,
Well, yeah, I
and
mean,
it might have time jumps too. We might see time skips. We might go back and forward, and um, some of the earliest reports that were indicating as much were saying that if these costume changes were so you knew what era you were seeing him in.
okay.
Like if we see, for instance, what if we see Django? We may see Django, and then so obviously in that instance it's going to be very clear it's Django. But then
Hmm.
if you go to Empire Strikes Back, Boba Fett, that armor looks a very specific way, and then Book of Boba, obviously,
Hmm. Yeah, it does.
or Mando, what that costume is, and there's probably going to be some stuff in between.
I just want
Right?
him to paint Jabba's palace a different color.
That's a job for Trando and the Mando. This place is mid-century Tatooine, and
We got to
it
give some liveliness here. Put some succulents in the front.
right, yeah. He's like, what really matters to me is the toilet, and then we have this right here. People
Yeah.
don't know, but that's actually his toilet right here. You hit this right here, and it flushes. This is the bidet.
Ah, so refreshing.
I mean, on Camino where he was raised, they had bidets. I mean, I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Oh
They
yeah,
they
man,
they
total.
they definitely have clean butts on
That was,
Camino.
yeah, they're real Japanese European style there.
Yeah. So he says, AntMan. Hey, what's up, AntMan? We need to get Ant Galactic Multiverse on the show pretty soon.
Oh
The
yeah,
reason
that'd be fun.
I put that question out there is because since Star Wars sometimes is not linear, could the scene where he kills Bib have took place prior to Luke taking Grogu? Yeah, that
Yeah, I could.
yeah that is not off the table. I mean, because we've all I don't know, I'm gonna assume we've all seen a bunch of crime movies and Goodfellas and The Godfather, and then even like Hitman movie and stuff like that. When he did that, there's no way in hell he went and killed a crime boss and everybody was just like cool with it, even if it was a little turd like Bib Fortuna.
Yeah, you'll
Because
see some guys coming after you for something, right?
oh yeah, and I bet you Bib. I mean, and there's so many stories I think that they could extrapolate out of that if they wanted to. Because in my opinion, a turd like Bib Fortuna, he probably owes some people. And when you kill
Yeah.
him, well, how do criminals deal with that debt? Oh, you killed the person who owes me. Now you owe me, but you're gonna try to
You
collect
just
on Boba Fett.
you
You
just took
know,
over his debt, son.
yeah. That's so that could very well be how this goes. But I also I also want to know, like, was there like actual like we've seen history between Bib and Boba in the comic, right? But
Yeah,
Bib is he's an asshole. Like he's a slimy fucking asshole. So he could just
he's
get
just
killed because he's been a pain in the ass for years.
he's a
And
slimy Mater D. That's all he is.
yeah, and he had to like deal with him. And so it might have just been like Jabba's not here to protect you. Bye, bitch. It could just be that simple.
Well, and I think
But
when he brings Fennec with him too, is he's going to. Uh, I have a feeling too, he's going to be running his own kind of like guild out of there.
oh no, without a doubt. I mean, I think he's taken over the Enterprise on Jabba's claim on Tatooine. I
Yeah,
think
I
with
agree.
that, he's got Fennec Shand, who's like the obviously a really powerful bounty hunter assassin, and she seems loyal to him. I'm curious if that will stay or not. I'm curious if are we going to see kind of like, I don't think Bonnie and Clyde is the right way to put it
No, I
because they're
can
more
see some
powerful.
conflict. Yeah, I can see some conflict coming between the two of them.
But he does. But if you're going to have a series with like with Solo, right? You
Hmm.
have kind of you have to do it, I think, two ways. And one way is you actually do give him confidants, somebody he does trust, who he is close to, who we learn they have a big backstory. Maybe they're in love. You know what I mean? Maybe they're not, or the equivalent of that for those types of people. Maybe there's like romance there, or maybe it's simply, you know, that they work together and they know not to fuck with each other because they're
Oh,
both
well,
they're
I
both
think also
yeah
too it could go the way that a lot of these shows are that are not Star Wars, but just kind of drama shows go is where
yeah
um, he saves her, he brings her in, and then at some point, even though she feels like she's his equal, he's kind of doesn't treat her as an equal still, and then he kind of keeps pointing out that, hey, look at your belly, I'm the reason you're still here.
yeah.
And so maybe after a little while she gets a little frustrated with that and starts
Well,
doing things on her own, maybe behind the scenes, to just take over his spot.
that's kind of like when we look at the like scoundrel type characters, right? I apologize if people could hear the gardeners outside. There's nothing I could do about it. Um, that's life and
I mean,
random
look at
lifetimes.
Hondo. He'd be finagling any way he can to try to get in that throne.
Yeah, but well, and that's where I was going to go with this is we've seen Fennec Shand go up against Cad Bane, and Cad Bane, it's easy to gauge, is a bad motherfucker. You don't want to mess with him.
Mm-hmm.
And Boba clearly wins a fight against him, but doesn't kill him. And there's history there with Cad Bane. But what I'm trying to say is when Fennec Shand is all messed up, her guts are all pouring out, and he saves her. It is a card he has over her, but it's also like was a moment to get rid of one of the people who's an obstacle in his way
Mm-hmm.
potentially too. Like it could have been a good thing that she was out, she was gone. You know, I mean, if we take it as Fennec, Boba, and Cad Bane are the three most dangerous assassin bounty hunters in the galaxy. If two of those are dead, it's great to be Boba, right? If you're the one who's alive or the one who's alive. But he saves her, and I think that should be indicative of him up against something not more powerful than him, but something where he needs help. He knows he can't do it alone, and she would have a debt to him. But we also, as we've also seen, we've seen like in Clone Wars, he's young,
Yeah.
but Bosk and Dengar are in his posse, and they seem very loyal to him. Then we get to the comic books, and they are fucking each other over every other minute.
Every step. Yeah.
Yeah. So what does the relationship end up being? Is my question. Do we end up with a Han Solo type of situation? Does Boba get close and trust, and then get messed over? But you know what I mean by
Mm-hmm.
because he's essentially dating criminals, or you know what I mean, in league with criminals. Or does it, do we end up with because I mean we could very well just end up with a mature relationship with two people who are like, yeah, we can do this and this is going to work out for us. You know what I mean? And not necessarily like a Sith thing where she's always trying to vie to stab him in the back to take his place.
Now, is it wrong that when we named off all three of them, that the first thing I thought about was the Three Amigos?
I would watch that Star Wars Three Amigos. Yeah, I'm because like when you do I think if you do a series with Boba Fett, you're gonna have to give him interesting people to play off of,
Yeah, and
because
then I think
just him standing there is gonna get boring after a few episodes. Like
and they're
obviously,
and they're really going to have to make some good motivations too for him as well. I really hope they don't try to go through the same thing week after week as his
yeah,
primary motivation. I think I'd like to see other factors come in to motivate him to do things.
yeah, and that's where I was going with it. It's like the classic motivation is Twitter likes. The Twitter
Yeah.
likes in the Star Wars universe.
Uh-huh.
I want a bunch of people to acknowledge that I am the best bounty hunter, and I want recognition because Daddy died and I didn't get enough recognition from Daddy. And that goes a little, goes a ways, but you usually end up breaking up with that person pretty quickly in real
Yeah,
life
that's true.
as a as a lover or a friend or whatever. And but yeah, it clashes with the struggling New Galactic Republic. maybe Kid Leia. So yeah, at this point, Leia is what? Leia
Ooh.
is about to get outed, I think. I could be wrong, I think, but if I remember Bloodline's timeline accurately at all. No, she's not about to get outed. Kyla is older when she gets outed. He's already with Luke. When she gets outed as being Darth Vader's daughter. For some
Oh,
reason, for a
okay.
second there, I thought it happened about 5 years after Return of the Jedi, but no, it happens much later. But yeah, there's a lot going on here with him in terms of what they can throw in that we have no idea what it is. Like, IG88 owes me $60 and I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean? It could be that dumb.
Or
But
maybe he has to work with what's his name from Mos Espa?
Wada?
No, not Mos Espa. I mean, no,
Hey, Boba
Timothy
Fett.
Olyphant. Timothy Olyphant's character.
Olyphant, yeah.
Mos Pelgo. That's right, Pelgo.
Mos Pelgo, yeah. On a side note, when I was going down to the set of Mandalorian, and I kept seeing those buildings up on those like stilts, like on the wood, and I was like, at first I thought, are they really doing something? Are they gonna like put like dirt mounds on there and then to make it like off the ground, but then to make it like on a hill, not have to actually build it or whatever? Like, why are they doing that? And then now, whenever I watch that episode from season 2, and I see them like all kind of like up off the ground, like almost like in that Tremors kind of way, I'm like, makes a lot of sense now. Whenever I see the photos, I'm like, oh, there it is. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. But yeah. Well, that's that. I think you bring up a really excellent point in that you have Timothy Olyphant, or you have Cobb Vanth. And Cobb Vanth is the sheriff of Mos Pelgo, and he is going to be deputized into the Republic Sheriff's Program, the Rangers of the New Republic. And now we have a new criminal faction coming up. And what do we know? I mean, or what can we assume? Whenever you take over a whole planet, you don't just go, well, it's my planet, and if you were here first, that's cool. You
but
end up taxing. You end up taxing them.
So he's Boss Hog, and they're the guys that are big boys.
Yeah, pretty much. No, but you end up. I mean, there's like taxes to be paid. I mean, which is what we saw in Cobb Vanth's episode. The bad guys, some bad guys come after the fall. There's nobody policing the universe anymore, and they show up and they're like, start trying to take their stuff, and then so he buys the Boba armor, and then
for
cleans
your protection.
house. Yeah, love that moment when he shoots the rocket at the guys and just blows the shit out of them. Pretty hilarious. But and actually Mando so far has done a good job of using the with that thing. They did a good job with blowing that up. And then when Boba shoots the ship down and he's all aiming for the other one or whatever, like those moments were like both really good. I was a little bit not worried, but I'm like, how many gags can they do with that where it stays good? But Robert Rodriguez sounds pretty fucking confident that he had a bunch more ideas for it. And not that I'm sitting here playing with action figures, but when you were a kid, you did come up with a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, and so I think there's probably just as much fun as people like watching folks with lightsabers. There's probably a lot of us who like watching his armor go to work.
Yeah,
like we've always imagined it.
Yeah, I mean, when you really get down to it, I would say rocket packs severely underrated in pop culture, and even as things that are being sold as toys.
Yeah,
because as a kid, I probably wanted a rocket pack just as much as a lightsaber. Like if they had put a rocket pack or a real working lightsaber in front of me as a child, it would have been a hard choice to really pick which real one I would want. I mean, because rocket packs are pretty fun.
And anytime they had that guy with the air pack, he would in the mid 80s he'd go to like football games. I remember he'd lift off like during halftime and out of the stadium.
The podcast The Dollop has a really good history of that rocket pack dude.
Oh yeah.
And it's wild, and like how he ends up like doing it at shows, and like the fuel it took was like jet fuel at first, and it's pretty insane. But Any of you guys ever watched the Adventures of Pete and Pete as a kid? So,
Yeah. So yeah.
there was this one episode where like his brothers hit puberty, wants to go out with girls. He's still little Pete is still a kid, and he's mowing lawns or blowing like leaves or something like that to earn money because he wants to buy a something along the lines of like a Reginald's retro firing rocket pack or something like that. And deep in his little kid heart, he knows it's a scam, but he's still the kid and everybody's growing up. And at the end, he gets it. No. You know what? He does it. He's not doing it. At the end, he gets the rocket pack and he puts it on, and it's just a fucking leaf blower. And he's just like, oh, but that show was so well written. Like even though it was for Nickelodeon, it's like you could tell they were writing their little stories that were just really,
Yeah,
really
there's a lot of good shows from then.
Yeah, but Pete and Pete is my favorite by far. But anyways, I can't not think of Rocket Packs and thinking of Boba Fett or Pete and Pete for that reason. But yeah, I hope Hasbro and those cats figure out that kids want to play with Rocket Packs. They just need to be shown that they want to.
Yeah, I mean, think if they did it as one of those releases, how they have the helmets or the stuff at GameStop. You could buy the helmets. Like,
yeah,
Black Series stuff. Make it a Black Series thing.
Yeah. I that was one of the things I had heard about for Mando season 2 and for season 1 was they were hitting up all of those fan groups really hard and buying up whatever they could.
Yeah,
their whatever they made, the people who made the best stuff. And that was why, if you recall, I had some reports about Sabine being potentially in season 1 because they were buying up all the Sabine helmets, the high quality ones, and probably Kit bashed it into the armor, is my guess now, and then probably ended up turning that and making it into the Aren, what's her name? What's her name? The Night Owl
Banks girl.
So yeah, and the other one, I can never remember her name for some reason. It just is. Maybe it's not a good name.
It's
maybe
not
I'm
a good
just
name
dumb
to help to remember. It's just it was kind of strange and it never stuck in my brain either.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Like, love Filoni, but don't love his names overall.
Yeah,
his names rarely stick with me. You know, like they all sound like role playing game. Like we were all sitting at a table, and I am Fennec Shen, a 50-year-old smoking hot bounty hunter. You know, they all kind of have like that kind of like thing. I'm Din Djarin, and I'm like Boba Fett, but I wear silver armor. You know what I mean?
Dominic Pace. I'm Gecko, and I can blend in everywhere.
Yeah, right. So you know, I anyways, I'm gonna stop picking on him. But yeah, it's the Book of Boba, it's looking pretty rad. It's I have a good feeling about it, and I hope I'm not wrong. I don't know anybody who has seen it. Sometimes, like I know people who will see things, cuts, stuff like that. I don't know anybody who's seen this one yet, though, and I don't know why that is yet, because I hear stuff from like Kenobi, which is after, you know what I mean, but nothing on this one.
So and not showing it to anybody.
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's Robert Rodriguez is like doing it, is sort of like him being aboard is changed like where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Like there's probably somebody with like deep Robert Rodriguez friends and sources who's like, oh yeah, I know everything. But
they were talking about October 1st, right, as a release time, but then now it's in December, so maybe they have a little more work to do.
Yeah. Oh, I hadn't actually caught that at first. I remember at first we were hearing October, then we did hear it was moved to December, and then now we got the December actual release date, it sounds like. Yeah. Yeah, so man, I was really looking forward to December. And for some reason though, like I said, it's petty, but it being after Christmas, I'm just like, oh man, I have to go to Christmas first. like it being before Christmas for some reason just felt like so much closer. It's really not. It doesn't matter.
Now you got to wait a few more days to open that present.
Yeah, a few more days, but I mean, it would have been nice when you. I mean, I don't even know what this Christmas is going to be like. Is are we going to actually have Christmas this year, or is it going to be like last
Well,
year?
if,
I mean, you know what I
living up here,
mean?
yeah,
Like with
that's not for
family,
nobody.
with everybody around, uh, but it works both ways. If it was out on Christmas, pretty great. If everybody's there, because then everybody gets to see it and it spreads the word, and
Mm-hmm.
enthusiasm is infectious. But also, if you can't do anything like that on Christmas, it would have been nice to have it for Christmas.
Yeah,
But yeah, as a kid, were you like a big boba dude?
yeah.
Were you like totally into it, like big time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I tried to tooth and nail to get myself a Boba Fett figure, but I never could because nobody ever wanted to give it up.
I would. It was kind of funny. I got my first boba on my 4th birthday. I have a photo. I'll show it on the show again someday. And it's me getting the Millennium Falcon. It's like one of the only photos of me probably at that age, honestly. There's like all been lost or something. But it's me getting the Millennium Falcon. And I got my Boba Fett on that birthday. I think it was my 4th birthday. But it was like a ton of Empire Strikes Back clearance stuff. Like Return of the
Okay.
Jedi was hitting,
Yeah,
and there was Empire stuff still around in places, and wherever my
gotta move
parents
it.
went, yeah, they just bought it all up, and I had probably the best birthday I ever had, honestly. Um,
Cool.
yeah, I peaked early, but
Really.
when you get like the Millennium Falcon and X-wing fighter and like 20 Star Wars figures and Imperial troop transport, it's kind of hard to top that. You know what I
Yeah, it
mean?
is.
Yeah, and but anyways, so I tear them all open, lose the guns immediately, and then I have Boba Fett, and he has this red rocket in his backpack, and I'm trying to pull it out. I can't
Mm-hmm.
figure out why I can't. Start to question if mine's broken. I meet other kids who have it. Hey, can I see your Boba? Okay, a rocket won't come out. What is going on? Is this thing broken? I mean, that's what I start to
Yeah.
think. So, and as a kid, I really loved the photography of Star Wars. I still do, but as a kid, when I saw a carded action figure, I would buy R2D2 and Boba Fett over and over when I found them, like an idiot in a way. And I need there's other figures I wanted, but I was like, oh, it looks so cool. But I didn't have the brains to like, I'm gonna keep it packaged because that's actually what I'm liking in this
Well, yeah, nobody did back then.
yeah, of course not. But I mean, but I liked the card. You know what I mean? Like I just didn't
Yeah.
realize it. Like I was like, that's what was attracting me was the package. And but yeah, so and then I was just like, what is going on? And then later on you hear like, oh, a kid choked on it and they glued him in, and that wasn't true. But years later, I got myself a Lily Letty Boba Fett, and the rocket was not, they didn't glue them in. They were just
Mm-hmm.
like kind of like stuck in the back of them, and you could remove the rocket. And I was like, the dream has been realized.
Here it is.
I finished what I started. I found the one where it came out, and I did get that mail away one where you could shoot the rocket, but just wasn't really in the mood for it. Got it, and I was just kind of like, I kind of don't give a shit for
Then
whatever reason.
you can be like Jules. I'm just gonna walk to Earth.
just gonna now I'm just walking the earth. Yeah. Yeah, no, I had a huge vintage collection of variants, like rare variants and stuff like that. And when I was having kids, you can never have enough money when you're having kids, as you know. You're just like,
Mm-hmm.
there's always something you need or something more. And I was just like, I feel like I am past collecting now, and I don't really feel like I'm in the headspace for this stuff anymore. And I was like, I'm gonna sling it all. So I just sold it all and got the kids, everything. And I also had visions of not doing it and them like getting in there and ripping them apart, which is ridiculous because my kids are completely great kids and would never do something. Well, you know what? No, screw my kids. They're the worst. I don't love them anymore.
That's right.
I had all of the carded Back to the Future figures, all of them, and I had them in the closet, and
And they got open, didn't they?
they opened them all up, and I don't. They're not really fun. They're just Michael J. Fox. But yeah, they opened them all up. So, but I didn't have a carded collection. I love it, but it's just the amount of money for the carded collection. I'd have to be like
Yeah,
Elon Musk to be okay with something that fragile of that value.
it
Yeah,
would just give me stress. I like what I've got. I don't need anything crazier than that.
yeah, yeah. But man, it is nice that we're actually going to see finally after all this time Boba Fett on screen. We're at the precipice of falling off that cliff into Boba Land. And I mean, I'm always optimistic. Like I always like to take the perspective. And this is a problematic perspective to an extent because it could set you up for like, oh, that wasn't good enough. But the next Star Wars thing might be the best. I mean, it's Star Wars has been around for 40 years, but it wasn't like it was prolific
No,
for
but I think
40 years.
I get what you're saying is like at this point now with what they've done, they've been successful with.
Mm-hmm.
They're really coalescing it and getting it down to a science where now we are, like you said, we're going to get something really good.
Well, and like,
They
yeah,
learned from their previous seasons here of doing something on a a series style show. So
I
they're
hope
really
so.
dialing it. Basically they've got it so dialed in. Now here we go. We're going to see how dialed in they actually have it.
Yeah, I mean, because like everything that we love about Star Wars is in some ways, and this is what JJ understood. Abrams is that it's so archetypical. There's implication, and there's not a lot of definition all of the time, and it allows for you to fill in the
Feeling a
blanks.
lot of gaps, yeah.
Yeah, and make it work for you. Like some people, to Boba Fett is a murderer, kill anybody, doesn't care. Like that's their conception of it, and you really can't argue with it. That you know what
No,
I mean. But and then there's other people that are like, no, he has a code of honor. He is a man who always gets the job done, and if he takes the and it could be all of those things in the end. But
and we get a lot of characters in Star Wars who feel the Jedi are that way.
mm-hmm, yeah, yeah, and it's like, but it's like Luke Skywalker. He's just good. He's just always going to do the right thing, and when he doesn't do the right thing, when they give him a human moment to propel story, people are like, "What is this?" But
He's got the green saber, man. Green, okay, good.
yeah, but we end up in this place where things haven't been super defined over the years necessarily. And now for the very first time, we're going to actually have Boba Fett. I feel like as a true character who can be evaluated. We could be like, you know what? I think when somebody says after this, Boba Fett is the best character or Boba Fett is the worst character, it's going to have like legs to stand on.
Yeah,
Not
definitely.
rooted in assumption or my fucking gardener. No. It's not even mine, it's my neighbor's, which is what makes me mad. Not mad, but come on. We're trying to do a Star Wars show here,
And I
guys.
figure at this point, with as much as Tamura Morrison's been acting in his last 30 years, that he really is gonna just bring it with this role. He just
Yeah. I think he has his action chops down. I think he's like
most definitely, yeah.
yeah. And yeah, with Boba, like, I was talking about relationships and the interpersonal kind of stuff that you should have. I mean, there should be bonds made and broken in drama. I mean, I think that's a fair
definitely.
thing to say. But at the same time, yeah, Tamara Morrison is I think he's gonna I thought he was good in Attack of the Clones. You know what was kind of weird to me? What just came to mind though is I read the script for Attack of the Clones before the film came out. Did you read it before by any chance?
No,
Okay.
not before. Afterwards, I did.
Okay, because I read it before, and that moment, I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe. That moment, when you read it in the script, it says nothing about the nuance of the scene. That was all in the directing or in the acting where they kind of, so when they say that stuff, they kind of like, I feel like that scene is actually performed poorly, but I think the idea in that scene is that they are just both saying what they're supposed to say to one another and kind of just lying almost like, here's what you want to
Yeah,
hear.
it's like a
And
comic panel.
yeah, yeah, they're just like kind of like here laying it out like, okay, like I told the cops, but they have to hear. Now you could go, space cop, and then that kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
but that was when I saw that for the first time. That was one of the few times I read a script for Star Wars and then saw it, and then I was like, what is this? What the fuck is going on right now? Why is it acted so poorly? It was
I'm
because
just a
that was
simple man trying to make my way in the universe.
yeah, that was one of the few times, but and that's not anything to do with Tamara Morrison. But did you see when he was Aquaman's dad?
Yeah, man, I love that.
Yeah,
I thought he was
that
good
was
in that.
no, yeah, it was in no way bad. It was weird for me. I was like, what? Nicole Kidman and a clone? You know what I mean? It
I
was
think
and because he was CGI, because he
I
was
think
like
that
aged down, it had that
his first
weird.
movie. What was the first movie that I think I seen him in? We Were Warriors or something like that. Once We Were Warriors.
Oh
It's a New
right,
Zealand
I
film.
remember. Was it the original title? We were warriors once and young.
I think.
I was like, shorten that shit. Come on. And then they
Yeah,
did.
but
Yeah.
there's a lot of fans here for Timur Morrison because there's a big Samoan and Pacific Islander population here. Like the
Uh,
most people, we have the highest population of folks from Guam here in Stockton.
so he's a Maori.
Yeah, so Maori, that's what I'm saying. We have a
Yeah.
good population of them here too.
Yeah.
Uh, um, so
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of hype, especially out here in the valley for this.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Well,
all
one time there was I can't remember what the story was exactly. Oh yeah, it was remember when they were putting Rex in, they were pretending that the white guy at the end of Return of the Jedi with the beard near the
is
bunker on
Rex.
Endor was Rex, and it was like there was a big kind of kick up of that's a white Englishman, like you could just clearly see that's a white dude, and everyone started speaking on behalf of the Maori people, and I was like, well, is that right? I don't know. So
Do they get white like that?
you know what I mean? I was like, so I talked to, I went to some Facebook groups and I asked around, and they ended up not wanting to kick up anything. So I ended up like not using, anything that they said. They were like, 'cause they were pretty much like, we don't really want to. I was like, okay, cool. I get it. No,
All
no
right.
problem. But, but yeah, yeah. But I have to say, I do hope with all this Tamura Morrison usage, if they're ever going to do something like that, put him in the costume for a day, composite him in. Let's just do it. Add him to Return of the Jedi now, and be done with it. If that's what they want it to be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
I, don't- I and I don't think George Lucas would object to that change if they wanted to like do it, since he created Rex, hired Tamura Morrison, you know what I mean, so on. I don't think that would be one where he was like, no. I think if they wanted to
Yeah.
put like some new character and that he never heard of, he'd be probably would say like, no, my cut, no, or something like that. Maybe he would,
Exactly. Yeah.
but yeah. And then Nike says, I wonder if his costume will upgrade like Din Djarin's armor into someone of Mando. I think
Yeah.
it will. But I don't think it's going to be like Mando. Like Mando is a purist. He's a classic cult following Mandalorian dude, and in his version, he's reclaiming the Beskar. I think Boba's is going to have to do with eras that he's in and the missions he's on.
Oh, and what if he gives refuge to those other Mandos that were in the Enclave, and then including like the armorer herself too? Maybe he sets her up in there, and that's how he
Ooh,
gets his different armors. Is he managed to get some Beskar and collected all those other armors that, remember, I think Din, when they went down in the Enclave and all that armor was piled up.
yeah. No, well,
Maybe he.
two things or three things. That's a good idea. I do. I think that's a really good idea. But the one thing standing in between it right now is the fact that they're in a cult. So like they're not going to be cool with Boba, who takes his helmet off, and you know what I mean, and all that kind of stuff. So he's not in the cult. So I think what you have to have is, I think Din is going to take them out of the cult. Either Din is going to fight them and destroy them, because it goes two
Just get
ways. Like Death
yeah.
Watch is horrible. Death Watch are not the good guys, and they
No.
really never were.
Mm-mm.
And people left Death Watch because they realized it was bad, and then the other people who didn't sold the Mandalorians over to the Sith, essentially. You know what I mean? At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, and then we
Yeah.
have the whole thing. But so I think you have the possibility of something like that if Din Djarin leads them out of the cult life, helps. What do they call it when people get out of a cult? The clarity, or going clear, helps them
Going
go
quick.
helps them go clear. And then
That Kool-Aid habit, bro.
yeah, and then what do you do after that? Like with those are your skills. Like what do you do? And yeah,
Maybe he gives them
Boba.
a purpose,
Mhm.
and or maybe there's a point where Din is trying to extract folks from the Death Watch, and you know, he maybe goes back and forth with Boba about, hey, you should let them do what they want to do, but Din's like, no, I need to get them free. Um, but whatever involves the two of them, there's always going to be that tension, I think,
Yeah.
between him and Boba.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that friction you would think would persist. My looking at the picture right now, when I very first watched that scene at the end of the Mandalorian season 2, I felt like that was King Conan at the end of Conan the Barbarian, when he's sitting on his throne and he has a little monologue thing. That's his King
But he
Conan.
would get tired from ruling.
Right. Exactly. And if there's one thing that I do know, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau watch the same shit as us. So they definitely are fans of that. And it makes me hope that's kind of where this is going. But let me ask you this.
Hmm.
So let's just pretend like season 1 of Book of Boba just ended. Do you want Boba to end up being like, let's imagine he rules Tatooine now. It's his world. Luke Skywalker's home planet belongs to Boba. And every time I say it, Santa's like, "Yeah, King Conan."
King
I,
Conan.
I forgot. I was picking on Santa yesterday because he doesn't like horror films, doesn't like super cute stuff either. So he's like right in the middle.
Uh-huh.
Star Wars and Conan the Barbarian. That's I think I found. I think now I
His
understand
niche.
Santa's sweet spots. Yeah. Anyways, do you want Boba? Do you want him to? Do you want him to like end up like sort of like he rules, but do you want him to have like honor, or do you want him to be a villain?
I want him to be at odds with his villainness.
Mm-hmm.
See him struggling whether or not that, even though he's now on this throne, he has to realize that now that he is on the throne, more responsibility comes with that. Like the Peter Parker thing, with more power comes with more responsibility, and so he's now having to take care and do other things that he's not used to. But because he in his position, they all look up to him, and they're trying to, hey, what are we going to do? Tell us which way to go, boss. They're going to be coming to him like people would have went to Jabba and be like, hey, I need help with this, or I'm sorry, I owe you money. I throw myself at your mercy, that kind of stuff. I think that's
Right.
where it's headed.
Yeah, I would even say maybe another example of that is the Peter Parker thing is Michael Corleone. Like you know what I mean. Like once you take on that once you are in that position, and when you're in the underworld, in the life of crime, or even, I mean, not necessarily the best example, but like Walter White in Breaking Bad, like you start having to do things because when you're in that world, the stakes and the people coming after you
Like you
are
can't show
much
weakness in that
higher.
position, really. You can't
Yeah,
be seen
yeah.
as granting a lot of mercy for folks who have more would previously been killed. And
I mean, you would also think he's more of a target than he was before.
yeah, I would think
By
partially of that, but I think have him taken out Bib after Jabba's gone, I think a lot of more people actually just be afraid of him.
yeah.
And if there is anybody to challenge him, it'll be from off world.
I kind of think that they may end up taking this into a place too, where like we Django clearly gets a very sweet paycheck from
Mm-hmm.
the Kaminoans to be the clone template. I don't think though, if you were sort of a warrior type dude, if you're a UFC fighter, you're not going to be very happy. Phil, if you're a UFC fighter and they take your blood to make UFC clones of you, I don't think you're going to feel like you're a champion in
Exactly.
doing that. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
you're definitely going to want something more. And I wonder if we are sort of seeing Boba finish what his father's goals were that happened to be his own.
No, he's gonna grow a mustache and get a Ferrari. He's gonna be Mac
Yeah.
FBI style.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Me and your son in a Fortnite, man. We get in that car, dude, and he like never wants to drive. He gets in the back with that minigun, and I just drive
He
like crazy.
loves
And
that thing.
he just sprays people.
I know. I know. We just got the Master Chief collection back. We had it before, but we haven't had it for a while. But he wanted to get that because he wants to get back into Halo.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, dude, I always wanted, like, I played like the first few Halos on the original Xbox and to
Mm-hmm.
the Xbox 360. Want to dig it. It just, I feel like it's like if it came out when I was younger, it would be like my jam. But because
It
it
would, yeah.
didn't, I just,
It could have been.
yeah, I'm like I like it, I get it, but I just don't like, I don't anticipate it like in like I'm not crazy about it.
It'd be like the other thing I look at it too is like I would love if they made this style of a game, but they made it for like Contra or some of those other games
Yeah.
we had when we were younger. It's like, now that's a game I'd like to have a FPS.
I just wish they would go back to making side scrollers, like really good ones, because I mean, like that's the one thing when technology went into 3D, the side scroller really did
Yeah,
fall
just
off, and I kind
yeah.
of like
Well,
that
now they're
better.
making those. I see they're making those little Tiger games too, with the little black and white LCD
Man, and
screens.
those are shit.
I
Those were
know,
just
but
like like you got that because you really like Street Fighter, and you or whatever it happens to be, and or I had the Batman one too. I remember the Batman one.
yeah, the Batman one was cool.
Yeah, and then but you're like, oh, these aren't games. These are torture.
These are just black. These are just black shapes moving around.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I got one when we were going camping one time, and I was like, cool. Yeah. And then I brought it to school, and my teacher took it from me, and I had to go camping without it. But
Uh,
probably for the best because it wasn't any good.
Most of them never got the batteries changed. They just when they died, they died.
When they died, they were done. But yeah. But anyways, I feel like we probably pretty much covered the Book of Boba Fett for today.
Sounds good.
And yeah, I want to thank everybody for hanging out. And I'm going to do a moment of shameless self promotion because I have a new song out that I do
Ooh.
with my music stuffs, and it's on Apple Music now, and it's not on Spotify yet. Spotify takes its sweet ass time. It should be on Amazon Music today, but I'm just gonna play it at the end of the show because why not? And if you're still here and you want to check it out, thanks. And if you like it, I will put links up to add it on my Twitter account sometime soon, probably today. But thanks to everybody for hanging out in the chat with us. Thanks to everyone who supports the show on Patreon because that's what allows me to keep doing it. And to everyone who's a channel member on YouTube, I appreciate that a lot. And make sure you like this video and subscribe to it. And if you're watching it later and you had a comment you wanted to make, feel free to leave a comment and I will
Yeah,
try
please
to,
do.
yeah, I'll try to hit it on the next show because sometimes, when you do a daily Star Wars show, not a lot is happening. And the conversation is fine if the conversation continues. Yesterday's
Exactly.
news doesn't mean the conversation's done.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so this is my new song with my drummer Chris and Randy from Now This Is Podcasting I used to do the show with on the old bass guitar. I'm on guitar and doing the vocals and playing the keyboards because I'm a nerd. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. And thanks for hanging out with me today, Jesse.
All right. No problem, man.